Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at one of my all-time favorite movies, The Thing, released in 1982 and directed by John Carpenter. People ask me all the time what my favorite horror movie is, and while it changes from time to time, right now I have to say it's this movie. Not only is it filled with enough practical effects and body horror to make Clive Barker cream himself, it's also an effectively dreadful movie that blankets you with a deep sense of paranoia and hopelessness. And who doesn't want that in their lives? Based on a John W. Campbell sci-fi story from the 30s, The Thing follows a group of 12 American researchers at a remote Antarctic research facility who are infiltrated by an extraterrestrial that can perfectly assimilate and imitate other forms. While the titular Thing is dangerous enough, the real threat ends up being suspicion and mistrust as the beleaguered group begins to turn on each other and get driven to desperation. Couple of notes before we get started. This kill count has the potential to get really messy because of all the assimilations and off-screen weirdness going on. So I'm gonna try to keep it clean by only including human deaths that happen in the present. With that rule in place, let's get to the kills. The movie begins with a spaceship crashing into Earth's atmosphere, showing that sometimes invasions happen by accident. After the title card, we jump to 1982, where a real handsome dog wolf is running across the frozen expanse of Antarctica. He's being pursued by a couple of Norwegians in a helicopter who are trying to shoot him down but doing a piss poor job at it. The dog winds up running to an American research facility, home to a whole bunch of dudes who are happy to take that dog off your hands, guys. They'll feed it and walk it every day. The Norwegians don't trust the Americans to be good pet owners, though, so they get out and pursue the dog. One guy takes out a grenade, but it slips out of his hands behind it. He gets the hell out of there, leaving his chopper pilot buddy to look for it in the snow. When it blows up, it gives us our first human kill. Bet that guy sucked at Easter egg hunts when he was a kid. The surviving Norwegian opens fire, hitting George Bennings in the leg, so Outpost Commander Gary clumsily busts out his window and shoots the Norwegian right in the eye. Based on the 2011 prequel, this dude's name is Lars, but I still haven't seen that, so to me, these guys are just Norwegians 1 and 2. The Americans put out the chopper fire, and Clark, the dog handler, adopts the orphan doggy to a good home. In fact, let's just go ahead and take a minute or two to meet all the guys present here, because it'll help to know them all going forward. There's Windows, the radio operator, who hasn't been able to get a hold of anyone for 2 weeks now, which is really upsetting Blair, the biologist played by Wilford Brimley. But you're not gonna get any diabetes jokes from me, guys, sorry. That well is dry. We briefly met George Bennings when he got shot by the Norwegian, and he gets stitched up by Copper, the outpost physician. Who's that rollerblading down the hallway? Why, it's Heather Graham. Just kidding, it's Knowles, the station cook. He probably has to work overtime for Palmer, a mechanic who loves to smoke that sweet Antarctic kush. The other mechanic is Childs, and there are a couple of other scientists like Norris and Fuchs, all under the command of Gary, who we already met. Oh yeah, and then there's motherfucking RJ McCready, aka Mac, aka Kurt Russell, sporting the finest hair and beard this side of the South Pole. I don't care if Gary is nominally in charge, Mac commands my heart and what seems like the total respect of everyone else at the station. Probably because he's the chopper pilot. You always want to be friends with the chopper pilot. Copper enlists Mac to fly him to the Norwegian station so he can try to find some answers to the two-man invasion they just faced. While they're out, Stranger Dog explores his new digs. He walks into a room with someone silhouetted against the wall, and now's a good time to tell you that that dog's a thing, and he's about to infect that dude. Who is it? Well, there are a lot of theories, some stronger than others, but the filmmakers intentionally left a lot of this movie ambiguous to play into the themes of uncertainty and paranoia. Since we don't know for sure, I'm not gonna add anyone to the kill count right now, but just know that someone in the base has already gotten thingified. Copper and Mac arrive at the smoking Norwegian base and find a whole lot of fun stuff. First is a frozen dead body with its wrist slit, but I'm not gonna put it on the list because I'm trying to keep it simple here, folks. Then they come across a big old ice tub, which strangely looks like it'd be fun to take a nap in. Out back, they find the charred remains of something.
Is that a man in there or something?
I don't know, Doc. Why don't you take it home and find out? Oh. That's exactly what they do. The crew takes a good long look at the steaming carcass, which is fine by me since that thing looks gnarly. Look at those heads, those fused ass heads. Sick stuff. And we're only getting started. We get more bloody bits when Blair does an autopsy and finds your average human organs inside the body.
Seem to be normal.
Yeah, Blair, that thing is normal. Maybe normal for an art piece that David Cronenberg commissioned from Salvador Dali. That night, Clark puts Stranger Dog in the kennel, and if you don't want to see a bunch of dogs turn into goo, you should probably stop watching right now. The other dogs start freaking out, but I don't know if there's any cause for concern. They might just be super cliquey and want to give the new guy a hard time. I don't see anything wrong with him. Oh, his face just split open. Okay, fair. Yeah, this dog might have something wrong with him. What are those? A bunch of pull and peel Twizzlers? God damn. All right, man, you do you, I guess. Just leave the other dogs out of it, okay? Aw, come on. What are you doing there? Gross. Mac overhears the commotion and summons the alarm, bringing everyone to the kennels where they find, this going on. Good dog? No, I gotta say, that's a bad dog. And look what you did to your new friend. That's a bad dog. Mac and Gary shoot at it, but the thing just gets pissed and tries to leave through the ceiling, until Childs hops in with the flamethrower and torches this abomination. Again, for the kill count, I'm only including human deaths, so that's why those dogs and this thing aren't counted. Blair does another autopsy and explains that the thing imitates other life forms, but they were able to stop it before it finished.
Finish what?
Finish imitating these dogs.
As Blair and Clark tend to one of the surviving dogs, suspicion begins to set in.
What the hell are you looking at me like that for?
The gang watches some tapes of the Norwegians excavating something from the ground. They figure out where it is, and Mac gets his best chopper flying jacket on. When they get to the site, they find the Millennium Falcon sitting inside an ice crater. Never really noticed that spaceship there, Antarctica. Is that new? How long's that been there?
I'd say the ice it's buried in is 100,000 years old, at least.
Oh, so like a while then. They also find where that ice tub came from, and again, I just feel the urge to crawl inside there for some reason. Anyone else, or am I just fucking weird? These guys are much smarter than me though, and instead of just crawling around in big ice holes, they figure out that the ice tub was actually the frozen thing, thrown from the spaceship and frozen underground until the Norwegians found it.
They dig it up, they cart it back. It gets thawed out, wakes up, probably not in the best of moods.
Damn it, Norway, get your scientists under control. Blair runs a computer simulation, and in true 80s movie computer fashion, it somehow has the ability to display graphical representation of the thing's assimilation process, as well as write in complete sentences and make wild predictions based on a few keystrokes. Thanks for the info, magical movie computer. Meanwhile, Windows and Bennings put the two-headed body from the Norwegian camp into storage, but they don't see that it's still got some life to it. So after Windows briefly leaves the room, he comes back to find Bennings mid-assimilation, meaning we can finally throw another body on the kill count. I'll do this if we see someone getting taken over like this, since it's verification that the person is dead. Bennings' thing makes it out of the base and into the snow, but he doesn't get far before dropping to the ground and getting shit your pants creepy at the guys. Sounding like a dinosaur? Get the hell out of here, thing. Max spills some gas on him and they all have a real nice Bennings thing bonfire. As a matter of precaution, they burn all the other thing bodies they have too. But during their blazing bonding session, they notice Blair is absent. Max sees him running from the chopper a bit later and discovers that Blair is a saboteur. He's also a crazy pants Looney Tune, taking an axe to the radio room and killing the rest of the dogs in the kennel. He even shoots at Childs, but when he runs out of ammo, the others bust in and ask him to table his little temper tantrum. They subdue and sedate him and lock him in Mac's tower, where he explains the root of his frustration.
I don't know who to trust.
Mac tries to brush it off and leave, but Wilford Brimley is like, "No, I'm serious. Let me act here." And Mac's like, "Okay, let's see what you got."
I said watch Clark. And watch him close, do you hear me?
Even Mac's gotta admit, that was some damn fine acting. Good work, Wilford. Copper comes up with an idea to mix blood samples with uncontaminated blood to test who's a thing, but they find all the backup blood has been drained. Saboteur! This creates more paranoia since Gary's the only one with the key and Copper's the only one he ever gives it to. Tensions really start to rise here, and Windows gets so freaked out he tries to arm himself with the shotgun before Gary stops him. Gary then concedes control of the place to Mac, because when you have a beautiful mane of hair like that, people just want to follow you, man. Mac torches the bad blood and lays out some logic.
I know I'm human, and if you were all these things, then you just attack me right now. So some of you are still human.
That's what I freaking love about this movie, man. In most horror movies, you're watching characters who make dumb decisions that you know you could avoid, but these are all smart dudes acting as intelligently as they can, trying to solve a problem. They just occasionally make fatal mistakes. Take Fuchs, for instance. He's studying the hell out of Blair's journals and suggesting people eat out of cans to avoid infection. But when the lights go out and a figure passes by him in the hallway, he heads outside to see who it was. He finds some torn clothes of Mac's, but then he goes missing. So Mac and a few others head out to look for him. They stop by the tower to ask Blair if he's seen anything, and there's a darkly hilarious edit.
Blair, have you seen Fuchs?
I don't want to stay out here anymore. I want to come back inside.
God, that noose, that delivery, I love this shit. After they leave Blair, they do end up finding Fuchs, or what's left of him anyway. There's a lot of theorizing on the internet as to what exactly happened to him, but again, the filmmakers leave it ambiguous. The guys offer a few ideas.
Maybe he tried to burn it! Maybe he burned himself before it could get to him.
But nothing is settled, and I like it that way. Mac and Knowles go to check out his shack since the lights are on, but when they take a while to come back, the others start boarding up the outside doors. Knowles is eventually seen approaching from outside by Norris, who seems to be having some chest problems there. Maybe take a breather before you wear yourself out, dude. Knowles comes inside and says he thinks Mac is a thing based on the torn clothing he also found. People get even more paranoid and keep Mac locked out, causing him to break into another room where he holds them off with a flare and a stick of dynamite. Norris and Knowles try to apprehend him, but when he shoves them off, Norris has a heart attack. This actually does kill him, despite their attempts to revive him. Man, 5 deaths in and 4 of them have been lame or off screen? Maybe I was wrong about this movie, guys. Maybe the thing isn't that gory or cool at all, and the dogs were just a one-time thing. I'm sorry, I don't know what I was thinking. Let's just get back to it, I guess. Where were we? They were trying to revive Norris? So yeah, they get the defibrillators and oh my god, his chest just ate Copper's hands! What? Yeah, fuck y'all for doubting me. Look at those bloody stumps. I love the way this movie distracts you with enough quiet moments so that the big ones like this hit really hard. Norris gets super thingified now, and this is an image you've probably seen before. His crazy looking thing head sprouting out of his chest. Mac torches it, but not before Norris's original head detaches itself from the body and falls to the floor using its tongue as a little grappling hook thing. Then he sprouts legs and tries to run away. Mac ain't having it though, and he torches that head to ashes. Mac tries to enforce some order here and have some of the guys tie the others up. When Childs protests, Mac threatens to kill him, and he's actually super serious because when Clark takes a hidden scalpel and charges him, Mac shoots him in the head. I was gonna make a joke about having to find someone else to take care of the dogs, but then I remembered all the dogs are already dead, and I got sad. Mac has the dead bodies tied up as well as the living people and explains his plan. He noticed that the thing is defensive down to the particle, so he's gonna test everyone's blood with a hot wire to see if their blood reacts. This is probably the best sequence in this entire movie, as Mac slowly but methodically has everyone cut open their thumbs so he can test their blood. Windows is shown to be okay, as is Copper and Mac himself. Next up in the test is Clark, who's also a human.
Which makes you a murderer, don't it?
Yeah, or just the fastest draw in the South, Childs. After Clark's blood test is Palmer's, and his blood reacts violently to the hot wire. Palmer is a verified thing, so I'll put him on the count now and reveal that I and many others suspect that he was the silhouetted man. Right now he's not a silhouette at all though, he's just fucking gross. His head blisters and bubbles and breaks into pieces before he busts out of his bondage and flies to the ceiling. Windows is slow on the draw with his flamethrower, so Palmer Thing splits his head open and takes a big old bite out of him, chomping on his head and swinging him around for a long time before tossing him aside unceremoniously for the 9th kill of the film. Mac lights Palmer Thing ablaze, but he still manages to stumble outside where he falls to the ground. Mac finishes him off with a grenade that blows him all to pieces. Nice. Back inside, Windows is starting to assimilate into another thing, but Mac shuts that shit down with his flamethrower. And yes, the Windows Mac naming thing is actually just a giant coincidence, since this is 1982 and neither of those companies were even founded yet. Crazy, huh? After all that commotion, Mac gets back to the tests. Knowles is safe, so we cut to him with the flamethrower, which is pretty funny. Then Childs is shown to be safe and yells to be let go.
Cut me the hell! Come on, get me out of here! Come on, get me out of here! Cut me loose, damn it!
And that edit is super funny too. Finally, Gary is shown to be on the up and up, and he ends the scene with the funniest moment of all.
I know you gentlemen have been through a lot, and when you find the time, I'd rather not spend the rest of this winter tied to this fucking couch!
Guys, this movie is the best! Childs is left to guard the base while the others go to check on Blair. When they enter the tower, they find him gone and discover a tunnel beneath the floorboards leading to a little workshop area where Blair's been working on a freaking spaceship. Yeah, not entirely sure how long he's been a thing, but this confirms it, so let's slap him up there on the old kill count for number 10. While the guys get to work on some dynamite, Knowles notices Childs running outside the base and then the lights go out. Looks like the generator is blown and they'll be frozen without power in a matter of hours. A perfectly fine situation for the thing.
Wants to freeze now. He's got no way out of here. Just wants to go to sleep in the cold until the rescue team finds it.
Mac, Gary, and Knowles commit themselves to fate.
We're not getting out of here alive, but neither's that thing.
All that beard and all that nobility? Forget Commander, this man is the crown prince of my heart. They go on an all-out rampage using dynamite to blow up the spaceship and the tractor to knock down the tower walls. They start lighting fires and blowing up damn near everything, literally going room by room with Molotov cocktails. They go to set charges to bring down the place once and for all, but Blair Thing finally shows himself and attacks Gary, grabbing him by the face and digging his fingers deep into his flesh to assimilate him. Not sure if Gary dies officially from assimilation or asphyxiation, but he did. Then Knowles gets distracted by the silence and wanders away from Mac. Since this is the last time we see him and we hear a commotion from that direction, the general consensus is that Knowles is killed off screen by the thing right here. So I guess, yeah, in all actuality, there are a bunch of off-screen deaths, but with all the crazy gore, I don't think it detracts from the movie one bit. Mac finds himself all alone when an underground thing attacks him, bursting from the floors and grabbing the detonator away from him. This thing is a huge, nasty beast, and he's got all sorts of things coming out of all sorts of orifices. I love it so much! Mac's not a big fan though.
Yeah, fuck you too!
And with that stick of dynamite, the whole friggin' place blows up in a series of huge, awesome fireballs. Look at that fireball! Bow to that fireball. It is your god now. Mac wanders away from the flaming wreckage where Childs confronts him.
Where were you, Childs?
Childs says he saw Blair, went after him, and got lost, but who can know? There have been countless theories about this ending, with many suspecting Childs is the thing since there's not a lot of fog coming out of his mouth as he speaks, especially compared to Mac, who looks like a friggin' smokestack. But again, the filmmakers left it intentionally ambiguous, so the movie ends with the two survivors, unsure of their fates as the station burns down around them. I actually do agree that Childs is a thing, but in the spirit of ambiguity, I'm gonna leave him off the kill count. So let's take what we know for sure and go to the numbers. It was a normal walk, cause I'm a thing! 12 humans for sure died in The Thing, and since there's not a single woman in the whole movie, this gives us our first kill count with the victims 100% one gender. At a runtime of 108 minutes, that's a known character killed on average every 9 minutes flat. Golden Chainsaw for coolest kill goes to Copper. I just love the suddenness of that torso opening up, and the way his hands are literally bitten off by a belly. Dull Machete has a bunch of options, but I'll actually give it to Norris and his heart attack. Yeah, Knowles and some other people died off screen, but at least you can imagine something graphic with them. Norris just died of poor cardiovascular upkeep. And that's it! Released in 1982, John Carpenter's The Thing is a must-watch for any horror or sci-fi or just movie fan. I'm not gonna do the 2011 prequel or the 1950s Howard Hughes version right away, but I'll probably get to them sometime in the future, don't worry. Until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been The Kill Count. Hey guys, thanks a lot for watching my kill count for The Thing, which, yes, is my favorite horror movie right now. I want to thank some awesome patrons who have been supporting me, including Ryan Hallermeyer, Elliot Albright, Kian Myers, and Zach Geller. I decided that when I'm finally able to do another big series, I'm gonna have all my patrons vote on which one it is. So if you want to have a voice in that decision, jump on over there, even if it's just for a single $1 a month. Next week is Night of the Living Dead. I'll see you then.